The shinobi was a covert agent or mercenary in feudal Japan. The functions of a ninja included espionage, deception, and surprise attacks. Those shinobi proper, especially trained spies and mercenaries, appeared in the 15th century during the Sengoku period. Antecedents may have existed as early as the 12th century. The very existence of the shinobis led to modernizations in the motorcycle world. A bike.
Since the beginning of the industrial era, motorcycling has been an avid passion for everyone. Maybe just made of bare metal. But then again, there is something which is very uplifting whenever we think of it. There are these times when you just sit or hop on the bike, twist the throttle, and the feeling of the bubbling engine underneath gets us going every day. The very same way, the passion for us started all over in 2000 when the little class segment came to a huge roundabout. The 600cc class was still young, but the industrial era really spoiled it for us. Especially in the Indian side, a lot was to be vouched for. But then again, the 800cc class had only access to come to India. There was a lot of import duties put on us at that time, and the grey market had a lot of influence on us. Every single place where people want to buy motorcycles was either through XBHP and a lot of reviews or forums from that side. 20 years long, and we have something that we finally wanted to have in our shores. Something that wouldn't really intimidate us. At the same time, keep us on our tips, waiting for the trust, that madness come from within. The Daytona 675R was one such bike which enthralled a lot of madness in us, but yet we were waiting for something more affordable, and yet something which packs a ton of fun. Here's the Kawasaki ZX6R, the thing that we really needed for our Indian roads.
Nearly 25 years, the ZX6R, the Ninja, is one of the longest running sports bike still currently in production. And when you consider the current state of the inline 4-pot sport bike market, which is currently inhabited by a handful of bikes, it's a long life and ongoing success to make it all more of an impressive machine. This flashy green and black Kawasaki Racing Team KRT color scheme is the only guise in which this bike is available in India. The design features sharp lines and flamboyant graphics befitting the Ninja's sporty nature. A large, stylized ZX runs across the bodywork on the left side of the motorcycle, while the 6R emblazoned across the right side completes the model's designation. Although I would really say it looks more of a 400 and a 10R combined together. The rider seat has some room front to back, allowing differently sized riders to find their sweet spot, and is at a reasonable 830mm height. A plastic seat cowl sits in place of the pillion seat. The slim tail section juts sharply upwards and terminates in an attractive LED tail lamps, while lower down on the right side sits a chrome exhaust canister. Turning the key in the ignition brings the informative analog digital dashboard to life. Riding this bike through heavy traffic is no mean feat and will take some getting used to. And the tank protrusions that provide forearm support when cornering foul with the rider's wrists at full lock. Fast flowing traffic is easier to dispatch, and the green missile obliquely sights into gaps and powers past cars with just a switch of the right thumbstick. In true Japanese supersports fashion, the ZX6R is built around a pressed aluminium twin spar perimeter frame, which in turn is suspended on Showa hardware at both ends. However, upping my pace in the twistings had the rear squatting under hard acceleration, while the soft front end dove sharply on the brakes and gave me a very disconnected and vague feel while tipping into corners. A few clicks of the rebound and compression adjustment cruise on both the end should stiffen up the ride unleashing the sharper chassis response I was looking for. This range of adjustability allows the 6R to go from a pliant road bike to a taut track bike, making it very usable in a variety of conditions. Suspended from the twin spar frame is Kawasaki's excellent 4-cylinder liquid-cooled DOHC motor displacing 636cc. Those extra 37 cubic centimeters over the standard 599cc fare in the Japanese super sport field are responsible for a meaty spread of torque that makes this bike such a joy to ride even at low to mid-range drives. Conventional knowledge claims that middleweight sports bikes are gutless in the mid-range and need to be constantly kept at high revs, but the Kawasaki turns this logic on its head. Although acceleration through the low mid-range isn't what you would call sizzling, the ZX6R feels strongly well from under 5000 RPM, better than any other 600 super sport I have ever ridden, negating the need for constant gear shifting. Even when pottering around at 20 km per hour in 6th gear at barely 2000 RPM, there was no sign of knocking. Extremely commendable behavior for this class of a machine. It outdoes the competition when it comes to peak figures as well. The engine is mated to a sure shifting 6-speed gearbox with extremely well-spaced ratios, helped along by a quick shifter which works only for the upshifts and sadly misses out on the auto blipper for the downshifts. As I reach forward to the extremely low, downward tapering clip-ons, it becomes apparent that a lot of thought has gone to the wide, flat upward profile of the fuel tank, allowing me to drape myself over it when getting into a proper crouch. There is even a recess to accommodate the chin bar of your helmet when in full lean and a full tuck, while the sides are designed to provide a bit of extra support to the rider's forearms when hanging off in a corner. Thankfully, both the levers are reach adjustable and the foot pegs, although high enough for generous conning clearance, aren't really that high to make this bike unreasonably uncomfortable for taller riders. The pegs are acceptable for fast-paced action, although more aggressively positioned rear set foot controls may be needed to unlock extreme lean angles when pushing limits at the racetrack. Twist the throttle on the open door and you are greeted by a rush of acceleration as the tacho needle blazes from 8000 to 14,000 RPM in the blink of an eye. The engine sounds heavenly on the boil, dispatching triple-digit speeds in first gear, while 200 km per hour comes up in fourth, by which time you would typically find yourself out of gear. The Ninja changes direction extremely quick, feels a lot smaller than when it is ridden hard, and the front end felt extremely communicative and planted as I pushed it deeper and deeper into the corner. There were several times that I thought I had overcooked a corner, only to realize I could have braked even later, while the ABS did a good job of keeping both the wheels on the ground. I have to admit, from the outset it sounds as much as fun as sticking your hand into a spinning blender. But as I found out, the little ZX6R has many strings to its bow, most of which make it more than just a machine to go hunting apexes on track when it's sunny. With a little bit of planning and some decent kit, you can ride this adrenaline injection system all year round. Sports bike and comfort are not two things that really go together when judging the levels of luxury offered by these no-compromise road racing machines. They must be subjective. But with my subjective head on, I was mightily surprised by how comfy and roomy the little Kawasaki is. I am 5 feet 10 and find the upper body ergonomics about as good as you can get on any sports bike. After many hours spent, to be honest 2 days, trolling up and down the motorway to various launches on my little green friend, I'm always surprised by how relaxed my upper body is. Almost all sports bikes feel comfy on the track or when hammering along a B road. Just the act of burying the tarmac from apex to apex on one takes your mind away from the what discomfort you might feel. But spending 2 days with it, still finding the ergonomics of the bike spot on is a pretty neat trick. The seat of the Ninja is a treat too. It's not overly padded or soft, but it's big enough to allow you to shift across whenever you need to. I like the seat to peg distance as well, never really needing to give my legs a stretch, unless I'm in the saddle for more than a couple of hours. And by then you need some fuel anyway, as it gives a real-time mileage of about 10 to 15 km per litre depending on the way we ride. Kawasaki also shows an eco mode indicator to show how green we can be with emissions on the little green cracker. Like any sports bike, the aerodynamically designed fairing is there to help the bike cut through the air with minimal fuss, not to keep the rider dry. That said, if you're able to get yourself in a semi-racing tuck position, it's only your wrists and lower back that take the beating on our slow-moving city roads. But once you get going, the smirk changes to a smile and off you go, cheering yourself to the one amazing investment that you've made. So if you have the green, that is rupees 10.49 lakh ex-showroom worth of it, and you really want a 600cc track-sharing machine, then look no further. There you need to start making some space in the garage for this Ninja.
Well, as you can see, this is the legacy of the Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R. One of a kind Japanese inline 4 636cc mill, which is unbeatable. At this price range, you can only get the new 765 RS, but still, the value for money is so good that 4 years before, when the Daytona 675 was released, and compared to the price that it was launched now, it is still 20,000 rupees lesser. With a high rate of reliability and bulletproof engines that Kawasaki makes, this makes for a hell of a bargain. With slight amount of tweaks, this can be race prep as well as trundling around the streets is absolutely possible.
I generously thank Team Nara, REVVinTASHN and Arovani Grid for giving us the immaculate support which we totally required. Thanks to every single crew member in Set Anarchy. Links are in the description below. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon for notification. Until next time, get set and not